You're listening to Game Beans, the podcast where two beans talk about games and stuff. I'm Silvia, and this is my wonderful co-host, Ramón.
Hello!
Yes!
I'm Ramón!
And you're right, I totally just read the thing as is. How are you today, Silvia?
I'm doing, I'm quite alright. How are you?
I'm sleepy.
Same.
I'm sleepy.
At least you didn't sleep right through the alarm that we had for the podcast.
Oh, no.
That would be shitty. That would be a shitty thing to do, wouldn't it?
No, I'm not going to bring this up. In fact, I looked up an old message you'd sent me where it's like, oh, Ramón, you're going to be all like, oh, Silvia, you just slept through the recording time. And I was supposed to say that on stream. But I am here on stream to tell you that I will not be saying that.
You just did.
No, I'm just reading what you told me.
Uh-huh.
I'm reading your words.
So what are we talking about today?
Yeah, let's go into what we're going to talk about today. Today's going to be, the usual lighthearted fun, but also a more serious topic. Today we're going to be talking about imposter syndrome and our experience in recording talks or panels or podcasts.
Convenient. I recently recorded a podcast.
Did you?
Yes. So a podcast, it's a series of YouTube videos, right? Talking about various topics of the games industry. And yeah, we were, I guess, the first ones, like the first episode, and it was definitely interesting.
Before we carry on, I think just going to leave myself a little show note here to please add the link to this podcast episode in our show notes. What was the topic of this podcast, Silvia?
It was resilience.
Uh-huh.
So it's kind of an interesting topic because the three of us had different ideas, or not really that different, but ideas about what we thought resilience was.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of like throwing a blank here, but resilience is really just about, like, the word itself is about being kind of strong, and you become resilient by going through different experiences and different times in your life. And I think it's really interesting to talk about that with regards to the games industry. I mean, what, for example, for you, right, what would resilience mean?
Yeah, I guess resilience comes from strength from overcoming.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay, well, that's good. I'm a man of many words. That's you. But that it actually leads me into the experience of the talk itself, which is I was also like that at the beginning. When we were recording it, I kind of said much shorter sentences, or like much shorter statements whenever I was being asked, and then I realized, oh, maybe I should, people don't live in my head, maybe I should explain more what it is that's going on inside. So like I felt like I couldn't really I can hear you in the background typing.
Don't listen to me. Carry on.
Listen to my voice, right? I felt like I was being given the space to talk, right, by the host, by the really wonderful host. He was trying to get everyone to talk a certain amount, but I wasn't taking it up like I should.
Sorry,
And I
Silvia.
wonder-
If I may cut you off, because maybe our listeners don't have the full context. What was the format? It was. I get the feeling that this was kind of a panel kind of thing.
Yes, exactly. So it was a panel. There were three of us, and there was one host. So it was me as Silvia Gaetano, community manager, social media, what have you. Jim Rossignol, if I got that name right, and the third name was Thomas Salah, if I pronounced that correctly. And the host was Danny. I forget his last name. I should probably have looked it up.
Oh, Silvia.
I'm a terrible person.
I don't even have the link to it, so yeah, I'm gonna have to take you at your word that these were the people indeed that you talked to.
Danny Selfield Wadeson. Yeah. Um, so so this is it was like it was a podcast. It was a panel with three of us and one person asking questions, and it was kind of a guided thing where we kind of introduced ourselves at the beginning, or we were introduced and then we kind of got into the topic. So everyone kind of
Gonna cut you
really
off again,
explained.
if
Go
I
on.
may. I'm very sorry. Was this your first experience being on this kind of panel kind of thing?
So it was my first experience on a panel, but it wasn't my first experience giving a talk. So it was still, it was, I was a bit nervous because of the idea that maybe what I was saying didn't hold as much weight as other people's experiences. Whereas, if you're giving a talk, there is nobody else to really compare yourself to.
Gotcha.
I mean, of course, they're different. It's two different experiences. So when I gave my first talk, I was nervous, obviously, because I didn't have anyone to kind of ideas, bounce ideas off of. Is that the right term? Whereas in a panel, you can kind of do that. You can, someone is mentioning something, maybe it doesn't go in depth in it, and then you kind of expand on that idea, and you're like, oh, that's such a great point that you made there, and you continue. So it's two different experiences, and they're both really interesting, and I want to do a bit more of that. So yeah.
That's cool. And you just mentioned that you were having like a little bit of, how could I say this? You were struggling a little bit to get the words out that you wanted to say, and you felt that even though you were getting all the space to talk that you wanted, you still felt like you were struggling. Is that correct?
Yeah. What is this, a psychologist session?
I was tempted to try and do an impression of Dr. Phil, but I'm going to spare everyone. Oh,
Maybe next time,
my
right?
microphone level's really loud. I apologize.
Is it? No.
It was
Seems-
it was loud. I just
Okay.
made it a little lower. Sorry. Yeah, and then I scream. Right, great. No, I was gonna try and do an impression of Dr. Phil, but no, let's not do that. Tell me, tell me a little bit about this struggle. What did it mean?
I think it's so it's like like part of it was what I mentioned already, where you're not really sure what you're contributing to the conversation is really worth it or is as valid as other people's experiences. And another is just just having so many languages in my head. It's as simple as that. It's like, it's not a bragging thing. I genuinely I feel like I talk slowly because my brain is firing off a million different words in different languages. So
A multilingualist, are we?
yes, we
Why
are.
don't you tell our listeners, Sylvia, how many languages you speak?
No, please. It's so
Yes?
embarrassing
No.
when people ask. But we're gonna,
We gotta do this.
we gotta do that, and then you have to go next too, because I'm not the only one here. So I speak 5 languages, I would say, pretty comfortably. English and Italian are the ones that I speak the best, despite sometimes having serious troubles communicating in English. And then there's, German, Spanish, and French. And I used to speak Mandarin, but I kind of forgot most of it, which is a bit sad. But I'm picking it up again, or I keep saying I'm gonna pick it up again, but then I don't.
You heard it here first, folks.
I'll pick it up again. I keep seeing like Facebook posts that I made, 2-3 years ago. Oh man, it's such a shame that I don't speak Mandarin anymore. I'm picking it up today again. And then I never do. I was like, what happened to that? I don't even remember posting this. So yeah. What about you, Ramon? Tell me.
I speak no languages comfortably, but I would
That's
say
a lie.
but I'm originally Chilean, so I speak Spanish, English, of course, and German.
So maybe we can go into a bit why we both speak English and German, right? Do we have a common background there?
I don't think there's anything common between us, Silvia.
How dare you? Except for almost our birthdays. Um,
Yeah, because we're both coming to you live from, well, live-ish from Vienna in Austria. So that's the German part. But Silvia, you are at the moment in Munich, Germany, so that doesn't really work.
yep, I am. But I was thinking more going back to school where we got to know each other.
Yeah, we went to an international school, and that was a thing.
Hence the weird accent. So people always tell me, "Oh, you sound American," or like people who aren't actually American, I think, just assume that I'm American. Um, but that's not true. I literally went to the States maybe once or twice for like a month.
On holiday or what?
Yeah, on holiday.
Well, I'll be.
No, no, the sound of my people. They were calling me back, the Italo-Americans. They're like, hey,
Oh my god, can you do that?
no? Also, slightly offensive. I don't think I'd be able to.
I'm not gonna even try, because I am not Italo-American.
But
Sorry.
people do think you're American as well.
Yeah, I do have an accent, don't I?
Mm.
But yeah. So exactly. So you're. I'm just gonna try and keep us on track today.
Go on.
So you're juggling all these languages in your head, and so you feel like that's
Mhm.
kind of creates a lag in expression. Is that
Yes.
yeah? But having gone back, because I listened to this podcast, and as you know, as I tweeted about, and as I said, earnestly, by the way, it was really good, and you were really on point.
Mhm.
So do you reckon that there's a little bit of like self-criticism going on there?
I think there is, and I think everyone has that, where they just keep second guessing themselves. And I think that's also why I want to, or why we both really want to talk about imposter syndrome, is that we have this idea that what we say is not worth it, or the experience that we have is just, or we don't have 10, 15, 20 years of experience, or we don't have enough years of experience compared to other people, so we think that um yeah, what we're saying is just not worth listening to.
Indeed. Indeed, and let's talk about that. Let's talk about imposter syndrome. First off, before we start, I am a little bit annoyed because I did not know that imposter is one of those words that has two spellings.
What?
Yeah. So imposter, there's impostor with an or at the end, and there's imposter with an er at the end. And
Are you
both
trolling me?
I am not. And both you know what? Hold on. Let me switch to internet view. Hold on. Click on it. And then I'm going to do our little I do love this.
Is that the
slider.
slide? Is that what's happening?
That is what's happening. Imposter syndrome. Check this out. So let me just make this bigger for our viewers. There you go. ImpostOr syndrome. But when you wrote the topic on our Trello, Silvia, you wrote it with an ER.
Well, yeah, because is that a difference between American English and British English, or is it completely different? That, and I need to know. Our viewers need to know.
Impostor is an alternative spelling of the same noun. Impostor is the proper spelling of this word.
No, that is a lie. No, that's sus.
I feel bad for the generation that grows up with this sus meme. No, I don't know if you can see. I don't know if you're looking at Twitch.
I am.
Yeah. Imposter. When to use impostor? Impostor is a noun that means a person who pretends to be someone else.
Uh-huh.
When to use impostor is an alternative, a weird alternative spelling of the same
That's
noun.
okay. I'll be alternative. I've been alternative my whole life.
Imposter is the proper spelling of this word, but imposter has appeared frequently for several centuries. Oh, damn. There you go. Here's a Warcraft ad. Let's just...
No, that was a WoW ad.
Yeah. Warcraft.
It's two different games.
No. What are you talking about? Warcraft is World of... You're just trying to get my motor running. My angry motor.
So someone in chat, hey Quad, someone in chat said it's well known that English doesn't know what it's doing at any time. And it's true.
That is absolutely true.
Yeah.
It's gonna bring us back to the away from keyboard. No, away from sharing screen.
Some
Hi.
faces. Nice.
Yeah. So imposter syndrome. Do you want to throw us a definition, Silvia, since you're the linguist?
Oh god, do I need to look it up then?
Yeah.
Is it imposter syndrome definition from my head or definition from the dictionary? Verywellmind.com.
Are you looking it up?
I am.
Okay.
ImpostOr syndrome. I mean, I love how it says. Hold on a minute. Do I have to share my screen now?
You can't. So send me a link and
I will send you a link because this is gonna be interesting.
hold on. Yes.
Alrighty.
I am loving these transitions way too much. So you sent this to
I
me.
love how it also quotes social anxiety, which I assume might have to do with it. Or we could go on Wikipedia.
I was on Wikipedia, but that's fine.
Yeah.
So, imposter syndrome refers to an internal experience of believing that you are not as competent as others perceive you to be. I think the short version that I would say is that you believe that you are fraudulently belonging in an expertise level that you don't think you are.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That you're gonna be caught and exposed as a fraud.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, in my experience in the tech industry, fairly common when you're starting out as a software developer. Because you kind of get the impression from looking at other people or at people you're senior or stuff like this. You get the impression that everybody seems to know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Which is debatable, but tricky nonetheless. Is it something that manifests itself as well in the gaming industry?
You mean the games industry?
What did I say?
The gaming industry?
Is one of them wrong?
There's a debate around that, games industry versus gaming industry. I prefer to say games industry.
Why? I'm curious.
With gaming industry, they're associated with gambling and stuff like that, and really like gaming itself, whereas games industry feels a bit more general. But I could be wrong, maybe because I'm an imposter.
Oh, come on.
No, but it's very widespread. That's why it really helps when people kind of talk to each other and they kind of remind each other, like, hey, you have all these years of experience, and even if you don't, you belong here. That's the thing. Like, we try as much as possible to make people feel included, because this feeling of or because imposter syndrome is so widespread in the games industry, at least. Or maybe I'm just following people who are just so acutely aware of their own work experience. Maybe that's it.
Yeah. Sorry, trying to process here. Because trying to talk about it, I think, first off, like, making it well known that this happens to all of us is something incredibly vital when it comes to, trying to deal with something like imposter syndrome. Because the thing that's tricky for me is that no matter how much time and experience I have in a certain field, it still manages to find a way to manifest itself time and time again. I mean, so let me ask you, Silvia, how many years of experience do you have in the games industry?
I would say around like 5 or 6, probably. Yeah, probably 6. Because that's the thing. It's kind of difficult to define. Um, because at the beginning, I also did a lot of volunteering, but it was just so extensive that I would still consider it as very valid experience. I mean, even if I would have just done volunteer social media management for just one organization, that still would have been enough to consider it. Like if somebody else asked me, hey, I'm volunteering as a social media manager or as a community manager for this company or for this organization, does this count as work experience? I would have said 100 times yes, 100%. But as soon as it comes to me looking at my own experience, I think, oh, I need to accumulate so much experience for it to be valid. So there's the disconnect in my head, at least, between what is valid experience, what is not valid experience. So volunteer and proper work, I say in quotation marks that you can't see. And then there's also the fact that I have an experience, or I have work experience in different fields that I always try to connect as much as possible. So I did, player support, and I did community management, and I did social media management, which are 2 different things. Copywriting and translation, it's all kind of interconnected. But it still doesn't feel like they all hold their weight when it comes to having games industry experience. But yeah, no, I think. Sorry, go on.
I'm curious. Saying all of that out loud, just now, how does that affect what you feel about that experience?
What do you mean exactly?
I mean, so you say that you at least felt or still feel that this experience doesn't count as much as the professional one that you had? Did I understand that correctly?
Yeah, so the volunteer one.
Yeah. So I wonder, because oftentimes what happens to folks, in my experience as well, personally, is once I say all of this out loud, I'm like, hold on, this is actually quite a bit of experience. I'm actually pretty qualified in whatever it is that I'm trying to be, to reason myself into thinking that I'm qualified in. So I'm curious, does that happen to you too when you verbalize it, or is it just like, nah?
I mean, verbalizing it for me would be when I see it in written form on my CV. Then I see it, then I'm able to kind of build a proper path where I'm like, oh, I started from here, from these volunteer experiences. And of course, they gave me all the tools. And of course, they gave me all the knowledge that I then build up on. So if I see it kind of on my CV, or I'm working on my CV and I'm putting all these experiences together, that's when it kind of clicks, where I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I do actually have knowledge. But I think the thing with imposter syndrome, or with feeling like you don't belong or you don't have the right experience to be part of a group, the thing about it is that it's not linear, the experience. It's not just at the beginning, oh, you're a noob, you don't really know what you're doing and you feel like an imposter, and then as you get more experience, it goes away completely. Like it kind of comes in waves sometimes, where you're sitting at your desk one day working and you think, what am I doing? Or like, do I even belong here? Do I even know anything? And like you can do a couple of different things there. You can either go like deep into this idea that you don't know what you're doing, or you can try and see, oh, what is it that I feel like I don't know, or what is it that I feel like I should build up on. and it kind of helps you a little bit to learn things that you don't know.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. I mean, what about you? Like, does it come in waves for you, or are you at that stage now because you have, over 10 years of experience in software development? Do you feel like now it's mostly gone and you're just like, oh, I know what I'm doing?
No, I'm
Or are
sorry.
you like that meme, that dog meme, who's just like, I don't know what I'm doing?
Oh, yeah, no, that meme, let me find it and put it up.
Yes, that was a little hint.
I have
This is
no
me
idea.
most of the time.
I have no idea what I'm doing, dog. The This one. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. How do I? Sorry. Yeah, no, the definitely it's I have multiple feelings about it because there it is. Love this dog.
Yeah.
I'm just going to leave this up, honestly.
Yes.
Um the way I feel about my relationship with imposter syndrome is that I kind of learned to embrace the parts that I don't where my knowledge is lacking.
Hmm.
So when I'm, for example, trying to sell myself to a client and say like, "Oh, have you worked with this piece of technology?" I will say, "Look, I haven't, but I'm a quick learner. I have all this experience with other frameworks of technology. I can apply the skills that I have, but there is a knowledge gap."
Hmm.
And I mean, with software development, I often find that a lot of what I do is get stuck. You know, is essentially digging myself out of these holes that I build myself. Right? Does that make sense?
What do you mean by digging yourself? Like, are the holes kind of when you agree to doing something where you don't have the full knowledge?
For example, or when I make a mistake in my software development choices and then I have to fix them.
Hmm.
Um, in any case, I have found that I've gotten pretty comfortable because I've been doing that for 10 years. But as you know, this year I started a job in slightly it's something slightly new, which is developer relations, which means that now I'm doing a lot more things like outreach and actually some community management as well.
Hmm.
And I definitely feel like an imposter all over again, but like it feels like it's got a fresh coat of paint, right?
You feel like imposter. Sorry, I have to interrupt you, but it's something that you said. It made me think. Do you think imposter syndrome is kind of what kicks in when you're trying to when you're trying to I don't want to say do something new, but I interrupted you and I don't even have like a good thought.
Welcome to 90% of our interactions.
Welcome to my brain most of the time. Also insulting. How rude. No, I was thinking because it's so you're kind of in a situation where you're doing something for a really long time, and then now you've put yourself in this new situation,
Hmm.
which has kind of kicked a good kind of imposter syndrome. Is there a way to say it like that,
I think
where it
so.
kind of kicks you into learning really exciting new things?
I think so. I think what you're getting at is something that I have felt as well. And that is that imposter syndrome, at least in my experience, could be seen as kind of a struggling with a discomfort, right? The discomfort of not knowing, for example, how to write a decent blog post, even though I've been doing, again, ooh, that thing you were saying about volunteering, right? I've been
Yeah.
giving talks at conferences and writing blog posts for years. But now that it's my job, I'm like, hold on, mate, am I actually good at this? You know? Um, and I think it's what you said. It's just that fresh lack of experience because with software development, yes, I may be experienced enough to be able to fix those problems, but that's because I've got the confidence in problem solving, but related to software development, right? So even though the framework is new, the problem solving skills are still there.
Yeah, so you have let's say you have like 50% of the knowledge and the other 50% you kind of learn as you go.
Yeah, I learn.
Yeah.
I've learned to get that knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes,
I,
over time, I still, even with software development, I do sometimes feel like when you see people doing some incredible things with programming where they built, I don't know, somebody recently showed me that they used something called WebAssembly to port the entirety of Duke Nukem 2 to be able to play it on a browser with just browser technologies, no silly, no any kinds of weird plugins or anything like that. Just on a browser with some JavaScript, play Duke Nukem 2, which is an old DOS game. And I look at stuff like that and I think like, gosh, I'm never going to be able to do that.
yeah, but you're going to be able to do so many different things.
Well, that's the thing, and then exactly. So it does. There is still a lingering imposter syndrome there that says, um, am I actually good at this?
Do you think it's connected then to, and you taught me this the other day, difference between jealousy and envy. Do you think it's related to envy?
Yeah, I think so. To recover that.
Yes, please.
Yeah, envy and jealousy. I mean, I don't even know if this is accurate, and this is some nitpicking, some high degree nitpicking. But the way I see it, envy is when you want what the other person has. And jealousy, I see as you wanting what the other person has, but also for them not to have it.
Mm-hmm.
You
And I
know?
think that makes sense. Like, personally, I would have put the description the other way around. I would have thought envy is like the stronger, more, let's say, evil
Mm.
uh, kind. But
The evil.
the evil kind, the one where you're trying to take everything away from other people.
Yeah. Uh,
Um,
exactly.
yeah, it is a bit connected to imposter syndrome, though, isn't it? Because you feel like an imposter, and you're like, oh, but the other person is doing it so well, and you have a certain sense of like light envy.
Ooh. Ooh. And now let's take a big old tangent because I feel especially in the last year that this has been exacerbated by social media, by our presences on social media. Because the way I
Mm-hmm.
see it with software development, for example, right, is when you watch a tutorial, right, and you see somebody doing that tutorial, typing on their command, typing on their editor, making the code happen, and all that. You never see the mistakes because why show mistakes? I'm asking, like, what is that? What's that called? Rhetorically, right?
Yeah.
I'm asking rhetorically, like, what is the purpose of showing the mistakes? But what I've realized, because I saw a tutorial from Westboss called Introduction to React, right? This is to be able to make code websites with a framework that's pretty much the most popular one right now. Anyway, he was leaving in his mistakes, and it was fantastic for two reasons. One, because I found myself following it and being like, hold on, that doesn't look like, as he was typing, right? I was like, hold on, this doesn't look right. I think it's going to break. And then it gets to the point where it breaks, and he will just go, oh no, I broke it. Let's find out what's broken. And then you kind of know how to, and so you join him. Not only do you get to see how this person, in this case, Wes, how he shows his problem solving methodologies, which is
Mm-hmm.
fantastic. But also, I think it dispels a bit of this myth that as we become better software developers, as we become experts in our fields, that we become free of mistakes.
Yes,
Right?
I agree. Yeah, I think it's also this idea of making mistakes
Yeah.
um, is really being pushed. I know we all hate LinkedIn, um, but it's something that I'm seeing a lot of recently where people are making all these motivational posts for
Right.
people to really show that they make mistakes, to show that they fail a lot of the time,
Mm-hmm.
because it really helps other people who then make the same mistakes or similar mistakes
Yeah.
um, in their career or at their job and stuff like that. And it shows them, hey, it's completely normal. Like the world is not going to end because I don't know, because you posted from the wrong social media account. Like it happens. It's almost hilarious even.
Am I allowed to
So
ask
I
if
think,
it's happened to you?
has it I think it has. Like very briefly, I posted from one account and I was like, whoops. And you delete it and then you post again. Like if you catch it early enough,
Yeah.
it's not gonna matter. Um, like it gets problematic then when you have certain worldviews and then you post them on like corporate accounts, which has never happened to me. But I mean, you learn how to deal with it, right? If it happens. So yeah, so I think this idea of really pushing that people make mistakes, like with the tutorials that you mentioned, with people in general saying, "Hey, it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to not get it right."
Totally.
Um, it's something that we really need to do a lot more of, and it's not just people in general. It's not just what's the word for it? It also needs to be like leading figures in organizations, in companies that say, hey, I failed before, you've made mistakes. Let's learn how to work with it instead of pointing fingers and saying, you made a mistake, you made a mistake, you're bad at your job. So it's
Yeah.
not just us that need to tell people, but it's higher up as well. If you work in a company, of course, which you don't.
What,
Like you
me?
don't. Do you like? Aren't you more freelance or like you're your own boss?
Well, I'm doing both freelancing, but ever since I started with CodeC,
Hmm.
I'm also part of that company, which has been an experience. That's a topic for another day.
Okay.
Um, a good
Taking a note.
a good experience. Don't get me wrong. Um, so as I was thinking about this whole thing about making mistakes and all that, and how social media has kind of exacerbated this image of people as flawless non mistakes makers, I have also grown to appreciate, like, it's become pretty common to do coding on Twitch lately, like on
Yeah.
stream, and that has been really cool because you get to see people make mistakes. I was doing this for work on Thursday. I mean, it doesn't matter because time has no meaning. A few days ago, I was streaming for work, just trying to run an open source app on my machine, and I had completely broken my Linux installation live, and it was great. I got to sit there. I got to sweat. It was fantastic. But it also like we've been talking about, it just shows that we all make mistakes no matter how much experience we have. So on the other hand, there is that benefit to having things be more live as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it also shows. It's something that you said as well before. It also shows. It helps you in the problem solving skill department. That's a
Totally.
mouthful. Because if you make mistakes, it's not just the fact of oh no, I've made a mistake. It's a fact of how do I fix it now? And if you teach also how to fix something, that's really important.
Absolutely. So you could say it makes us resilient.
Ah,
So on that note, how so aside from feeling you weren't saying enough, what was it like for you to sort of metaphorically stand on the shoulders of these gaming giants? Um, did it affect you?
Um, yes. First of all, I'm trying to think of how. It's why I took a pause. It
Yeah.
definitely affected me in the sense that first of all, it was very exciting to be around people who have been in the industry for a really long time. But it was also exciting in a way where they said something that I strongly related to. And I'm like, oh, no matter where you are in your career,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to have similar experiences, or you're going to also have the same types of thought. I don't really know how to explain it, but like someone who verbalized it in a certain way, I thought, oh, yeah, I would say the exact same thing in the panel. But it was also in a way, a bit nerve-wracking because you agree with them, you agree with what they say, but you don't want to just say like, oh yeah, that's totally relatable. I completely agree with you, because you don't want to be the type of person with like less years of experience that says, oh yeah, I agree just for the sake of agreeing because someone else has 20 more years than you do. So you have to try and like reframe what they said for your own experience. Even though at the end of the day, you just want to say, yeah, I agree. I mean, you said it all. So it was an interesting experience, yeah.
Would you say that having been there and having had that and having had those relatable moments, would you say that that kind of helped you loosen up a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think. Sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say, I guess after a little while or something.
Yeah, so like at the very beginning, I was like, oh no, I'm around these people who probably think like, who is this person talking with us? But then after a while, I kind of realized, oh, we're literally all in the same boat. Like,
Yeah.
we're all just like people working in the games industry. I mean, we had differing opinions, but it was about things that were so, I don't want to say minor, but we talked about game tutorials, for example, and everyone was on the same page except for myself that game tutorials are terrible. And I'm like, I actually enjoy game tutorials. And if I remember correctly, I did in fact mention it because I think it's okay for such minor things to be disagreeing with other people. So yeah, it did definitely make me more comfortable talking in general, talking about my experiences, not just in the panel itself, but overall, like going forward, I think a lot more people should be more public. But it obviously depends on NDAs and
Oh yeah.
the stuff that you can say, the stuff that you can't say.
Like what? Like what?
I'm not gonna say.
Give me an example of a thing you can't say.
You know, like that thing. Bleep.
Wow.
Oh
All
yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
Wow. That's a
Yeah, that one.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's heavy. Yeah. Let's take this opportunity. We've had a chuckle, a chukle. Let's start winding down our episode for today. Sylvia, what have you been playing lately?
Oh my god, what have I been playing? So the was it last week or the week before? There was a free game on Epic Games, not sponsored by the way. Um, not sponsored by Epic Games, please. Called Idle Champions.
Is that
So
on?
it's
Did you say it's on Steam or just on Epic?
on both, so
Okay.
you can check it out on both. It is a free to play game.
Let me just transition real quick.
Yes. And so it was free
Idle
on the Epic.
Heroes.
The reason why I say it was free on the Epic Game Store is it was one of those weekly ones, right? Every Thursday,
Sorry.
they unlock a new one.
Sylvia, did you say Idle Heroes?
Idle Champions.
Idle Champions. I listen. Here we go. Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms.
Precisely. So it's a free to play game, but there was a kind of a package thing that was being given free on the Epic Game Store.
Uh-huh.
And it's basically, yeah, so there you have it. Idler, Clicker, free to play. I don't know if you ever played Cookie Clicker
I
or what is it called? Clicker Heroes.
I played one that was like pure ASCII art.
Oh wow, okay.
I think it was like Candy Clicker. Hold on, I'm gonna Google this on a separate window. Idle game Candy. I think it was like Candy. Carry on. Sorry, Candy Box. That was it. Oh, I
Wait,
love.
now you're reminding me of the Paper Clips game.
Ah,
Do you
that one
remember
too.
that one?
Yeah. I didn't play that
Yes.
one, But I played this one. Check it out. Candy box. And it's just this.
You have one candy. And you just wait?
You just hold on. Now I can throw 10 candies on the ground.
Ah.
And then I think after a while you can start planting them, and then you can, it kind of evolves from there. And then they turn into... Can you eat all the candies? I have eaten 4 candies. Anyway, eventually you can start building a candy factory, and then you... after a while, I think you can start growing candy warriors, and you can level them up and send them on quests.
Oh, that's great.
It's... Normally, this isn't my kind of game, but for some reason, this specific one, the candies one, just, for lack of a better term, clicked with me.
I think it's because it's simple yet complex in a way. It starts off simple and it just continues on and just what is it?
Request a new feature to the developer. 30 candies. See, now I've I love this game. I love this game so much. Now I've unlocked a status bar. Request another one. Yes, please. I now have a configuration tab. You can change the language if you want to. It's just so much fun.
Okay, that's amazing. Yeah.
I could even put it in dark mode. Of course, gotta have dark mode. Yeah, this is just... Now I can save. Now I have health. You see what I mean? It's just... Yeah. It's incredible. Sorry, I completely took over what you were saying.
No, but this is live. Why, the reason why I keep playing Idle Champions even to this day right now. Because you get so excited about all the new stuff that you can do. Oh, this is amazing. You have a map?
Yes. It's... And I think I can... Yeah, I can go to the shop now.
Go to the shop. Do it. I want to know. Oh, this is great.
It's so good. I can buy a lollipop.
Yeah, try the paper clips one. Can you open up the paper clips one?
Do you remember what it's called? Paper... Yes, thank you, Google.
Or I can...
Paperclip game idle. Universal...
Was it paper clips? I think.
This looks about right, yeah?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it's not... What? Oh, you have to sell the paper clips?
Yeah, I think so. And then you start... Then later on you can make machines that create the paper clips, and then, I won't spoil it for you what happens, later down the line when you get further into the game.
This looks amazing.
Yeah, it's so good. I love these games. Some people don't. Some people say, oh, they waste your time. But is it wasted time if you're having fun, right?
It's true.
It's the whole point of a game.
Absolutely. I agree.
So what I have been playing is Idle Champions.
Oh, the Forgotten Realms. We're in an interview now. Let's look at some screenshots here. Why is the resolution so low on this screenshot? Is it my computer? You fight a T-Rex? This looks wild.
And you have different levels. You go from one level to the next. And I just like it because you can also unlock new champions. There are all these events that happened almost every week. Yeah, it's nice. I also really like they have different storylines. There's a proper campaign, I guess you could call it, with different scenarios that you continue from one to the next. And then of course every time you hello?
I'm listening.
Oh, you're so listening so intently. And every time you finish a little adventure, I don't want to say little. Every time you finish an adventure, you gain. Is it called respect? Actually, let me look. I have it open. You gain favor with different. Would they be called gods? I guess with different gods.
Deities.
Yeah, with different. I always say deities.
No, it's deity.
Okay.
Sure.
Sure.
For once you accept that I'm right.
I don't care. I'm gonna. That's the thing. Like, oh, you can say it however you want. I'm gonna keep saying it how I say it.
I used to say deity as well. Oh, I think deity is okay actually.
Maybe the plural is.
I don't know. Carry on.
And anywho, these figures, yeah, you gain favor with them every time you like finish an adventure, and then of course that favor can help you increase like the attack of your champions or a bunch of different things. So yeah, so Thomas and I have both been playing this.
Nice. Yeah, sounds fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
What about you?
What have I been playing? Well, now I'm going to start playing Candy Box again because I just got to buy a lollipop. Anyway, no, I've been having I have been playing recently picked up again Hyrule Warriors on the Nintendo Switch.
Sounds familiar.
Gameplay. It's like the sequel to Breath of the Wild. I just want to see some gameplay. Anyway, I'll just put on a trailer. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, so... Ooh, we're not going to do volume. It's... I mean, if you're familiar with the Warriors games, this is a style called Musou, which is a kind of a genre of you are either one person or a team of people against hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of enemies. It's very uncommon, it's very not uncommon for a battle for you to kill thousands, and it's kind of button mashy, kind of idle as well in a way. But yeah, I don't know. It's the sequel to It's like the prequel to Breath of the Wild, and it's really fun. I bought it ages ago, but I just never started playing it properly.
What platforms is it on?
It's just on the Nintendo Switch.
Oh, okay. So like not even, Steam or Epic.
No.
Or GOG. Or...
No. It's a Nintendo game, which means Nintendo Switch only.
Okay.
Not always the case. I guess there's some mobile Nintendo game. Anyway, yeah, I've been having fun with it. It's a good time. But I haven't been playing much. I've been pretty busy lately, so I haven't had that much time to play games. Well, let's take an opportunity now that we're nearing the end of our time together today to give some shout outs to stuff. Do you have a shout?
It's the shout out section every time. It catches me off guard. I say every time. It's only been twice now.
Yeah. So do you have
a
anything?
shout out? Let me think. How about you go first while I think?
No, because I need to think too.
How about we take a moment, we switch it up a little bit. Can you put a fun video of the day?
Okay. We're going to go
we think.
We're going to go old school. Old school, an old Vine for you young kids. It's before TikTok.
Laughing already.
It's 6 seconds long. Let's go.
So good.
Oh, it gets me every... One more time.
Okay. The thing is, I have it delayed because I have it on Twitch. Oh, my God. And the comments is also what gets me as well. Some of them were so good every time I look at them. It's such a good video.
I'm going to abstain from scrolling down just in case.
Yes. It's a good idea to not.
So I've switched back to the screen of us talking.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a chance in those 7 seconds to think of something you'd like to give a shout out to?
No, the only shout out I want to give is to that grandma. Shout out to that milk bottle.
In that case, I'll go ahead. I've been really enjoying my time messing around with Raspberry Pis. Don't know if you're familiar with them. Raspberry Pis are these microcomputers. They're about the size of a credit card, and they are essentially a Linux machine that costs about depending on there. You can get them for as cheap as $10 or about €7, and you can. It's like I said, a Linux machine, and it's meant to be hacked, and it's a lot of fun. The community support for doing stuff with it is outstanding, and I recently got myself one of these. Let me. Can I put on my camera?
Yes, please do. Show the world what it is that you're talking about.
Okay, so let's see if I got the right one. I do have the right. No, I need to transition it first. Hello, that's me. What I've got here is this. It'll probably take a second to show up on your end.
Yeah. Ooh, I see.
So it looks like a Game Boy, but it is in fact what's called a RetroFlag GPi case, right?
You can also see all the. you can see the reflection.
Yeah, you can see all the YouTube crap. Anyway, what this is a device that you put in a Raspberry Pi, and it allows you to run all kinds of games. Mostly, be it homebrew stuff, and that sort of thing. And it's a lot of fun. It supports all manner of consoles, like Game Boy, of course, old Nintendo, Sega, all of that. Now, here's the thing. You see it? It's got a screen. It's real nice. It's battery powered, which is all well and good. But the game slot is actually a fake. And if I remove it, what you see in here,
ooh,
this here is the Raspberry Pi. Inside this is the Raspberry Pi. This is the computer that powers everything inside. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It is wild. Can I open? I think it's screwed shut. Let me see if I got a second here to try and open it up. No. Well, better believe me. There's a tiny computer in there.
I believe you.
It costs about $100 without the Raspberry Pi, but it is seriously. Oh, and of course, it's since it's a Raspberry Pi, it means it's got built-in Wi-Fi, so you can connect this thing to the internet, which is incredible, which is wild. Like, how on earth do I have a Game Boy that can connect to the internet? I don't understand. I'm just gonna fade back to not camera time. Cool. Yeah, so that's my pick. Check out some of these. There's a ton of Raspberry Pi projects. This was a kit that I bought pre-made, but a lot of people do some pretty incredible hacking stuff, like mod a Game Boy and put in a Raspberry Pi. So that's my shout out. What's yours, Silvia? Did you actually did I give you an opportunity to think of something?
Oh, were you trying to delay everything so that I could think?
No. I was very happily showing my Raspberry Pi Game Boy thing.
The Game Boy? Did you build it yourself? No, you said you bought it.
It was a kit.
Ah.
So I had to just put it together.
Okay. I do have a shout out, and I realized as you started talking.
Oh yeah.
My shout out is to you.
Ah, come on. That's not fair. We don't do that. We didn't do that last time.
No, of course not. We didn't do that last time. For being a great co-host.
Thank you.
For dealing with me napping through our scheduled times.
Yeah.
For
go on.
Dealing with my terrible mic, which should be better now.
It is much better.
My connection issues, which are better now. For sharing all your knowledge with the world.
Oh my gosh.
All your knowledge. 10 years. Over 10 years.
All shared in an hour.
I know nothing. It's again back to that dog. No. In all seriousness, I think this is an amazing project that we're doing together, and I'm glad that I'm doing it with you.
Aw. Do you agree? Question mark.
I hate you so much. like we switch off the thing, and I'm like, oh fuck you, Ramón, I can't.
Whoa! Demonetized.
Right at the end. No, let's cut it. Let's cut it. No, I think yeah, you're a good bean.
Thank you.
You're a good game bean.
You too are a game bean. I mean, a good bean. Oh my god! If we have like a A theme song? It should be really bad. Just be like, I am a game bean, and you are a game bean, and we are the game beans.
Are you trying to manifest the idea that we're gonna have a theme song?
No, please, no. Neither of us. Well,
No,
I'm
we
not
have
musical.
to. We're not musical? I was in choir.
Yes, so was I. You can
and I
inquire
played
my
the
music
recorder.
teacher.
Oh, now I'm having flashbacks to being in France and playing the recorder.
Ah, good time.
Soprano and alto for 5 years.
Oh, ooh. Humble brag.
Humble brag. I'm a musician. Listen to me. I'm a musician. I can do it. I lived in France.
I wasn't gonna try.
Oh, okay. So yeah, let's end on that very positive note.
Thank you all for listening. Thank you for putting up. We'll be back at you next time. And until then, I am a game bean. And you are a game bean. And we are the game beans.
And we're good.
All right. Goodbye, everybody. Have a good one.
Bye.